Hello everyone, welcome to a lecture series of financial management. Today is lecture number 29. So in this today's lecture we are going to see a new point regarding a capitalization. So in this capitalization we are going to see what is the definition, or we will see what is the meaning of this capitalization. Again in this chapter we are going to see what is the overcapitalization. We will see what are the different causes which leads to overcapitalization. Along with that, we will see what are the advantages and disadvantages concerned with the overcapitalization, and also we will see what are the different effects and consequences of overcapitalization and what are the remedies for overcapitalization. So we will see in detail in this chapter. So again, the contents, if we see in the capitalization, it is again we will see opposite of overcapitalization, that is undercapitalization also is there. So we will see again what is the meaning, what are the consequences, and what are the different remedies of undercapitalization. Along with that, we will see the structure of capital, what are the different approaches for structure of capital. Again, we will see the cost of capital, what are the importance, the meaning, and what are the different components of a cost of capital. We will see the trading of equity, its advantage and disadvantages. So all these points will cover under this chapter of capitalization. So if you see the capitalization, if you move to the slide of capitalization, you will see first what is the meaning of capitalization. So if you see, the capitalization is the integral part of a financial planning. So if anyone want to do a financial planning at the initial stage of a financial budget, then the capitalization, it plays a very important role at the financial budget planning. So it means the total amount of a long-term funds which is available to a company. So it leads to a different factors, and that factors it leads to a capitalization. Now if you see how this capitalization it can be defined, so it is defined as, or it or the capitalization, it means the combination of ownership capital with long term loan capital. So these two factors are very important when you are defining a capitalization. So ownership capital and the long term loan capital, so these two factors means a capitalization. So if you see in detail, again we can define, or we can explain the capitalization in different way. So the capitalization, it is a combination of four main factors. So those factors are: first one is the share capital, second one is the free reserves, third one is debentures, and fourth one is long term loan. So these four factors, share capital, free reserves, debentures, and long term loans, it forms a capitalization. So this capitalization, it compromises of all the resources of a capital which are employed to raise a desired amount of capital to run the firm or to run that industry very smoothly. If we see the definition, there are the different definitions which has been defined by different experts. Their views are or their way of defining it is little bit different. So if you see the first definition of a capitalization, so capitalization is the sum of par value of outstanding stocks and bonds. So any company, they have the stocks and the bonds, so that is the asset of that company. So we can define the capitalization as the total value or total sum value of that stocks and the bonds is nothing but a capitalization. So this is a very simple definition. So in other way we can define The capitalization is nothing but it is a computation, it is appraisal or the estimation of present values. So estimation of that company, the appraisal and computation, it leads to a capitalization. So again the capitalization it compromises of company's ownership capital, which includes capital stock and surplus in whatever form it may be, appear or borrowed capital, so which consists of bonds or similar evidence of long term debits. So this is again another form of explaining a capitalization. In also it refers this capitalization it also refers only to a long term debit and capital stock, and short term creditors do not constitute the suppliers of a capital. So in reality, the total capital is furnished by a short term and long term creditors. So this thing we have to keep into a mind that this capitalization in reality, so it forms the combination of two forms of creditors. So first one is short term creditor and second one is long term creditor. So this is what a capitalization. Now if you see again in detail, so this is an overcapitalization. So if you see the meaning, the overcapitalization generally if you see it means the firm inability to earn a reasonable income on its funds or investment. So that is called as an overcapitalization. So overcapitalization means existence of excess capital as compared to the level of activity and requirement. The term overcapitalization it should not taken to the mean excess fund. So there can be a situation of overcapitalization even when the company may not have sufficient funds. So this thing we have to keep in the mind. So overcapitalization may be considered to be in nature of a redundant capital, or this overcapitalization it means the fund inability to earn a reasonable income on its funds or investment. So when a company has consistently been unable to earn the what we can say the prevailing rate of return on its outstanding securities, it is said to be an overcapitalization. Okay. Now, if you see what are the different causes or the reason behind overcapitalization, the situation of this overcapitalization it may raise due to various reasons. So these are the different factors. So if you see the first factor is the inflation. So inflation, the asset it might be have been purchased during the inflationary situation. So as such, the real value of the asset is less than the book value of the asset. So generally in Marathi we can say chalan vada, isn't it? So this asset might have been purchased what during the inflammatory situation, and the real value of this asset is less than the book value of the asset. That is nothing but an inflation. Second is valuation. So the adequate provision might not be taken or may not may have been made for uh, we can say the depreciation of the asset. So as such, the real value of the asset is less than the book value of the asset. So when the real value of the asset is less than the book value of the asset, it leads to overcapitalization. So that is true for two factors, for inflation as well as the valuation also. Now if you see the third factors is purchase of heavy assets. So the company might have spent the huge amount during its formation stage, or might have spent a huge or large amount for the purchase of intangible assets. So the intangible assets we can take the example like a goodwill, or for the patents, for trademarks or copyright and design and so many things. So that is nothing but the intangible assets. So what happens as a result, the earning capacity of the company may be adversely affected. So this adverse effect of this company indirectly it leads to overcapitalization. Understood? So what when the company spend the large amount of money during the formation, or it stages, or it spends a large amount of money for different intangible assets. So these intangible assets is the main reason or main cause of overcapitalization. Next one is improper planning. So the requirement of a funds might not have been properly planned by the company. So what will happen if the planning is not done properly? So as a result, the company may face the shortage of capital, and to overcome this situation, the company may borrow the funds at higher rate of interest. So which in turn it will reduce the earning of company. So this is again an important factor that one have to keep in the mind for overcapitalization. So if the planning is not there properly, and if the fund manager or the owner of that company, he don't have the proper planning or the proper vision for the company, then what happens? They may definitely face the shortage of the capital, and to fulfill the daily requirement of that company, the company they borrow the funds at the higher rate of interest from other financial agencies, and this will lead to the cause of overcapitalization. Understood? So this is the factor. Next one is dividend policy. So dividend policy, generally if you see this dividend policy, so the in Marathi we can say what, if any company they have a profit, then the part of that profit is nothing but a dividend policy. जनरल वी से नफ्यातील जो नफा होतो कंपनीला त्याच्यातील हिस्सा, so that is nothing but a dividend policy. So the company might have follow the lenient dividend policy without worrying much about building up the reserves. So as a result, what will happen? The retained profit of the company, it may be definitely get affected. So the return policy, so this return policy, so return profit of the company, it will definitely get affected because of this redundant policy. Next is taxation rate. So if there is a very high rate of taxation for company, then the company may not be having the sufficient fund left with its for modernization or renovation programs. So what will happen as a result? The real value and the earning capacity of the asset, it will be definitely get lowered. So this thing also very important. If the taxation rate of that company is very high, the company definitely it will not have the sufficient fund for its growth or for its innovation, or to or to do a different modernization in the company, and definitely the real value and the earning capacity of that assets it will get lowered. Next one is issue of securities. So there may be many instances where the management of the company may raise large amount of issuing securities. So irrespective of the fact whether they are really required or not, in order to make a benefit of a favorable capital market conditions. So as a result, what will happen? Only the liability of the company it will get increases, but not the earning of the capacity. So again, this is again an important factor while considering a over capitalization. The last point, if you see, the last factor which affects the over capitalization is wrong capitalization rate. So according to the earnings theory of a capitalization, the capitalization generally is the amount of earning capitalized at a representative rate of a return. So as such, if the capitalization rate is wrong, the amount of capitalization will be wrong. So in such a case, what will happen? That lower the rate of a capitalization and higher will be the amount of capitalization. So understood. So capitalization rate, if it is wrong, that means according to the earning theory. So earning theory is there. So according to that theory, if the capitalization is the amount of earning capitalized at the respective rate of return. So as such, if the capitalization rate is wrong, then what will happen? The amount of capitalization will be wrong, and in such a way that lower the rate of capitalization. And what will happen if the rate of capitalization it is lower? Definitely, the amount of capitalization it will become higher. So these are the factors which affects capitalization, or we can say it affects the over capitalization. So this is what we have seen in capitalization and over capitalization. So a little bit we will revise. So in this today's lecture we will see, or we have seen, the capitalization. So capitalization is nothing but an integral part of a financial planning. So before doing a financial planning, we have to think of a capitalization, that how much capital is available in the company. So so this capitalization it is formed. So this capitalization it is formed by two main factors. First one is ownership capital, and second one is long term loan capital. Or also we can say capitalization is nothing but a combination of share capital, combination of free reserves, debentures, and long term capital. So all these factors it forms a capitalization. So generally we can say capitalization it compromises of all the sources of capital which are employed to raise the desired amount of a capital to run the firm activity, or to have the growth of that firm very smoothly. Next, we have seen what are the different definitions of capital. Generally, capitalization is a sum or a par value of outstanding stocks and bonds, isn't it? So after that, we have seen what is overcapitalization. So in overcapitalization, we have seen what is the meaning of overcapitalization. So what it should not be. So this overcapitalization it should not be taken to the mean excess funds. So it can be a situation of a overcapitalization even when the company may not have a sufficient funds. So if the company they lack the funds for their daily uses, then also we can say it is an overcapitalization condition. So we can say the overcapitalization means the firm inability to earn a reasonable income on its funds or investment. And also we have seen what are the different causes, isn't it? So this inflation, valuation, purchase of heavy asset, improper planning. So planning it should be very ideal. So for to avoid this overcapitalization. So again we have seen a dividend policy. Again we have seen how the taxation rate also it affects the overcapitalization. So because of a taxation rate is high, if taxation rate is high, then the company they not have a sufficient amount of funds to renovate or to do have a modernization in their firm. Again, we have seen what are the different issues of securities that company. This issue of security, how it leads to overcapitalization, and finally we have seen what is the wrong capitalization rate. So because of a wrong capitalization rate, also we can leads to overcapitalization. So these are the things that one have to keep into mind. So in next lecture, we will see what are the different advantages, and we will see what are the different advantages as well as the disadvantages of overcapitalization, and we will see also what are the different consequences of overcapitalization. So along with that of this overcapitalization, we will see what are the remedies also, how to avoid this overcapitalization. That is also we will see in the subsequent coming lectures. Okay, so this is enough for today's lecture. So in next lecture, we will again continue this point of overcapitalization, and we will end up this point. And after that, we will see in subsequent lecture also what is undercapitalization. So overcapitalization and undercapitalization, these two factors generally have to take into a consideration for the proper growth of that company. So these two factors is very important for proper growth of that company and for financial management also. Okay, so Till then, thank you. So we'll meet in next lecture. Thank you.